You all ready?
Sir.
Ready? You guys ready down here?
Ready.
Staff ready? Looks like we're good. Let's go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the City Council workshop for January 27th, 2026. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, sir.
I understand that 2A is being pulled, is that correct?
Yes, sir. The consultancy engineering firm from Dallas couldn't make it down today for the meeting, and so we're going to bring that item back to you at the next council workshop.
Well, let's move on to 2B. Mr. Horns.
This is not going to take that long. The bulk of that time was allocated towards those folks. So, and I apologize, we were just looking at last year's economic development update. We had a very nice story map for you that had all of the, here's the map locations, and you click on it and it goes to the next thing. We will have that with the transition to the new public safety facility and timing of the weather. We just didn't get it all done before today. So just kind of do, I guess, a mini, state of the city partially for what we've gone through in this past year, just in terms of economic development, projects that we've gone through internally, and kind of a small roadmap for what we see in this coming calendar year. So the quality of life projects, that was kind of the big kickoff for the EIC in terms of their participation in last year's funding. So, and we've seen the fruits of all but, well, one of these projects, one and a half of these projects, I guess I should say, with the outlier being the Olympic pool. And that project kind of, it took a while to get that architectural plan lined up with the contractors and what the probable cost was going to be, and cost escalations and budget adjustments, et cetera. And we've had to use some of our contingency already, so we're a little bit, I think I spoke about it in the last few meetings. We're right there. We've hit our own knowns, and we've purchased all the big ticket items, and so we're hopeful that we don't have any more of those change orders, but we're sharpening our pencils and be meeting this Friday with the architects, contractors, and staff to kind of, I'd like us to go into that process and see if we can't carve out another $100,000 for contingency, just to beef up that since we have so many months left in this project. And I think there's the ability for us to do that. But the AC Shriner House is on its way. There was supposed to be a testing and balancing inspection by the state last week, and yesterday, it was yesterday, did not happen. So, yes, sir, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. This is a function of the weather and waiting on the state of Texas to come out and do those inspections. I don't know what the calendar looks like. I'm sure at the earliest possible time, but we're at the whim of their calendar. I imagine always there's just one elevator inspector for the whole state, and they're doing the whole thing. But I know that's not the case.
So since we,
They don't go like this, they go up and,
Well,
since we missed our date, do we go now back down to the bottom of the list?
I don't think that's the case. No, and there's been a few of these. And it certainly is a process. We'll keep you posted. We'll bug them if we need to. But the building itself is punched out for the most part and ready to turn over to the tenants. And so we had a little bit of savings in that project at the end of the day too. So there was about $150,000, I think is where we ended up at in savings. So that money will be pushed back to EIC, was kind of the last dollars in for that project. And so we'd always hoped that each of the projects was going to have a little bit of savings so that we could do some more projects. Cali Theater has been, I think that was kind of the first one that was finished. Theater's doing great. All I hear are great things. There's little punch items here or there. We're having warranty items for the contractor coming in, addressing those now. But everything appears to be going well at the theater. Granger McDonald Park, we have met recently with the folks who are running the Upper Guadalupe River Center, and we're working through some budget issues. So we have about a $400,000 delta in that budget right now. The updated opinions of probable cost. So we sat down and we were sharpening our pencils, trying to figure out what you could do. As you might imagine, it's easier to do that on a space that has a building when it's just pavement and grass. You know, there's how much wiggle room can you get, but we're getting there. So the engineer is going to take a look at some adjustments. The GRC folks are going to go back to their boards and talk about ways that they can help close that gap with us, and then we're going to reconvene in the next couple weeks, and I think we should find a good jumping off point. Guadalupe Park, so that's under contract now and should see fencing up. That is an agreement between the Community Foundation, the 3 NBA teams, and the city of Kerrville to rebuild that. So that's going to be fantastic.
Just drove by it, Mike, and they had a Connex box and they were unloading things out of it over there right now.
They are, yeah.
So it's,
So as we do with most parks projects, we usually get an ask or a request, not even an ask, but what can be done with that park equipment? And it's a liability and an insurance kind of nightmare. Usually that's because it's too old, right? Because a piece of equipment's been there for 20 years. It's kind of an insurance nightmare. You don't want to give it to anybody because it's the reason you're replacing it is it's because it's broke down and dangerous. And in this case, it's just been through too many things. And so, we haven't been approached about that yet, but I figured that will come. And so Jay and I talked about it, and if there are avenues whereby that could be done safely, I think we're all happy to consider that and have those things find a good home, but it all depends on the severity of the damage to what was there. It was damaged enough where we have to replace it. And so that usually means it's kind of scrap at that point. It just stinks because it was up there for what, 2 months, 3 months before it came down. The KSP playgrounds were fine, so we didn't have to worry about anything with those, and they were rocking and rolling. The golf course, if you drove past it, one of the things that you saw, one of the purchases that we made were covers for the greens, which at first I was like, I'm not sure that is it a good idea? And given the length of the freezes that we've been seeing, we feel it's a good investment for the greens, you know, so you don't lose them to the freeze. And so the golf course, we're still waiting on the bathroom. So we'll pour the pad side on the back, and that bathroom is on its way to going through the process of the state of Texas approvals. It's the last piece for us. I think that'll be the last time we go through that process or recommend going through that process ever again. I'd rather just build the water line. It did save us from having to build a water line and a fire lane and all the rest of the things that you would want to have out there, but it's been a process. And lastly, the pool. Said we're already kind of working through that project, and it is moving its way forward. Infrastructure, we didn't know where to put the KPD building, so we put the KPD building under infrastructure. And so that has been turned over to the chief, and I was just talking to him about, how's the weather treating the building, and there's still some, kinks to work out. It's a new space. It's a big space. Making sure the air conditioning is working evenly is a challenge. I would love for all things to not be electronic ever again. All things just mechanical is the way I like them because they're easy to fix. It's like my car. I can pop the hood open on an old car and I can look at it and understand it and fix it. And on a new car, I need 5 people to tell me what a piece is. And you still can't get to it. And that is, as an example of that, is the doors. The doors have 3 different contractors working on them. And it's a door. That's the way that I describe it, but it's not. It has this component. It has the scan component. It has another component, and so it creates a challenge for everybody because you touch one thing now and it affects 4 other things. And it just, at 70,000 square feet, it has kind of a cascading effect. So I've turned over that hot potato to the chiefs and to Charvy and Yesenia. I don't know if they're happy about that for me anymore, but a lot of public works projects have been in the works. I know one that's on that list that we haven't been able to get off the ground is that Lois storage tank project, and it's working our way through the state, working our way through TCEQ and Water Development Board, and getting those approvals is a challenge, and we just kind of go at the pace. We push as hard as we can, but we kind of go at that pace. We did get some approvals on Travis Street pump stations, which are the pumps that are going to help Lennar's Phase 2 build out happen. That actually exceeded the time requirements for when they had for review, and we were able to get them to turn that around about a week after their own deadline, so they're behind their own schedule. And I think there's so much work to be done in Texas, and I mean, there's so much money being poured in, and it's hard for those staff members, I think, to keep up with all of that work. You know, you can onboard as many people as you want, but we saw it in 20 when all those folks retired and they had 30 years of institutional knowledge. 10 people can't replace that one person's, like, they can answer that question in a second. That now takes a day. So a lot of infrastructure projects. I think we got through a lot. David and his team and Chris over here on this side. Soon to be without Stuart, who is also retiring. These two and their teams, they've been doing a bang-up job getting the infrastructure in place. We've got projects at the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant, street projects galore. I know there's a lot of grant projects in the works, and we're trying to balance that and navigate that, so that way, I think previously, Mayor, we were talking about Jackson Street has been disrupted continuously for the last few years. And how do you push forward all the projects while at the same time giving certain sections of town a break so they don't have the cones and the red tape and the orange flagging tape around it? So those guys are doing a fantastic job trying to orchestrate all that. Agreements that we've gotten into this year. So we got the ACOG agreement with Pronto. I know they came up here not too long ago, talked to us about how the process is working, the amount of people that are using those facilities, accessing them for the rides. The River Hills agreement we have with the River Hills Mall, and that is actually under construction, so it's fully not fully demoed, but you can see from one side to the other now at this point out there, and they should be finishing up that demo and getting into the construction phase pretty soon. And then finalizing all the agreements that we had with Whiskey Springs this year, so the TERS and the PID, and we still have some more work to do on those projects, but I think the lion's share of that was done in this last year. Other projects we got through with this year, I think that are going to be helpful for the economic development of Kerrville, is updating that comp plan from 2018, because it's just a whole different world than then. You know, it's post-COVID. It's a lot of things have changed. The downtown plan is now kind of a core function of that. And I was looking at that downtown plan beforehand, and there's a couple of those items on that list that have already been checked off the box since it got approved. So we're doing pretty good on that. The downtown river trail, I think that's going to be an interesting process to work through that. I think that's a transportation alternatives project with TxDOT and getting everything to line up, getting the easements to be acquired, making sure we were close to meeting that deadline, and then everything kind of, it went a little sideways and became less of a priority. So we'll pick that back up when the next round of transportation alternative grants comes through, and probably be 27, I would think. James Avery light is up. I don't know if it's flashing and ready to go. I think it's just up at this point, but it's just up. Yeah, okay. It's going to take a little while for it to be fully functional, but that's going to be a great thing. Between police department, sheriff's department, not having to staff that out there, that always makes me feel nervous when folks are out there on that street. So that'll be a good thing. And then I think the downtown streetscapes, that was a lot of work that's been going on downtown. A lot of that artwork, I think Councilwoman Seigerman and the rest of y'all focusing on downtown has been a big priority for last year. And I know the festival was a big piece of it.
We have the Smithsonian coming in May 16th.
There we go.
That's a great exhibit.
Yeah,
It'll be here 6 weeks.
yeah, so
I'll talk about it later, maybe.
perfect. Well, I think downtown should be something that all y'all should be proud of at this point, because it's getting a lot of attention and a lot of things are happening. And we see, I was at the, I told Mr. Orms that I was going to take my son to his putting green because he wants people to go to that putting green. I wasn't sure. And he was
Right.
like, no, I want people. That's the reason there are chairs out there and
make
a
a
putting
couple
green
of
out there
clubs.
is to go do it.
Out of his medal and
And
put
so
him
I
in
took
there.
my boy out there and we were out there hanging out for a while and I saw so many people coming and going. And it was probably 7 o'clock at night. And so it was busy traffic. It was good to see it. Housing. So housing's been a big piece for this last year. Mariposa's getting going. They have 10 houses under construction with another 32 to go in that neighborhood. Obviously, Habitat got pulled into helping out with the flood efforts, and they're working on GC and a lot of those. I think they have 10 of their houses under construction that they're working on. But they're on their way in Mariposa. Lennar's just about, they're getting close to being done with the street and the utility infrastructure on phase 1 of that second development at Windridge. You're starting to see the street connections being made out on 534. Still have to work on that. But they'll be ready to start platting first phases pretty soon on that one. And so that's gonna be another 490 houses. Bluewood is working on their temporary C of O. I'm not sure if they've gotten it there yet, but when that thing's all said and done, I think by this spring, they should have most of those 272 units coming online. We've been in talks with those folks about opportunities to help out. If they could carve out a few places that maybe something could be worked out where I know there's going to be folks, a lot of folks who are in temporary housing right now, who are that's gonna go away at some point, and are gonna need need some place to go. And so I think that's over 100. I think over 100 families, individuals, and they've been receptive to those conversations. Not, the lion's share of all that is just going to go to where it's going to go, but they were amenable to the discussion, which was nice to hear. And then Comanche Trace is working on their phasing on the backside. So that is the phases 19 through 24. That's total of 332 units. I think they're just working on phase 19 now, which is just one phase of those 5. But eventually that'll build out. I think that would be the full build out of Comanche when that gets completed.
Michael, on that real quick, there is a sign on 534, and I just want anybody that's watching or listening to clarify that Comanche Trace is not building houses on Loop 534. It is advertising for the housing that's part of this in the back
It's very confusing.
of Comanche Trace.
Yes, sir, that is correct. That is exactly what it is. It's advertising for their development on the backside by Turtle Creek. We had any number of calls about that. So adding all that up, that's roughly 1,000 units. So Kelly and I were just discussing the housing study numbers suggested when that was completed that we needed anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500 doors, apartments, houses, etc. So back those numbers out there, that leaves it with about 1,000 doors, 1,400 doors, depending on, it's a guess, right? But based on how many people are coming in from over 50 miles away, they want you to take about a 30% share of that number, the number of jobs that are vacant at the time, and then the number of homes that are for sale. That's kind of the 3 things that they look at for the calculation of what type how many how many doors you need. And so that's a combination of apartments and houses and homes for purchase and ownership and homes for rent as well. Downtown businesses, right? Clint Orms, Water Street Antiques, Pookie's, which is making me fat. It's so good. I gotta stop eating those things. Trail Boss, Tail Chasers, Frostbank, Panda Express is coming soon, and we've got more stuff coming. So that's just downtown, and I think beyond that, I think you're gonna see more development coming on all sections of town. And sorry, I didn't mention it. Kerrville Pets Alive's new facility will be coming on 27, I think, in this coming year. So
No, coming in June of 2026.
there we go.
Quick.
And then the designations that were all pretty impressive. Music City designation from the state, Bird City designation, Cultural Arts designation, and Scenic City designation we had a Scenic City designation that was silver
Mm-hmm.
and is now gold. I think next is platinum. Triple platinum is after that. I'm not sure.
Stops platinum.
But that was all last year, so that's pretty impressive. And then for this year, we obviously take direction in where you all want us to go. We know that we have the vacant facility at KPD, and in process of getting that into the hands of a broker and having that broker put that out. Working on EDA grants with the federal government for economic development projects. At the same time, we're looking at other agencies that are projects that's specifically tailored towards an economic development. Will that be an economic development windfall if you do this project? Going to another state or federal agency, or are there grant opportunities for us for other projects that we would get for some other reason, right? Does it hit some metric? And then trying to balance all that out with Julie's team, because every one of these grants is a reimbursement grant. So we can't all come to Julie and go, hey, we have $40 million worth of stuff. We need it all
Write us a
today.
check.
Yeah, that check does not exist. And so how do we work that out? And we're starting to have those conversations with her.
Can I ask you about the KPD building?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you started the process of interviewing brokers?
No, we're gonna get those, that's gonna close on the 6th of this month. So we gave it 2 weeks. And so once we get that, we'll review all those submissions and then
I was just
go from
curious
there.
where you were in the process, that's all.
Still waiting to let folks kind of put them in. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, oh, good, that's great, I mean. That's a good idea.
And then we put this one in here because the airport was kind of a big discussion with the EDA, and we didn't go after that transformational grant because I think it's a really, what we understood was that it's a challenging grant to receive, and I don't think we met the criteria for what they would call a cluster of partnerships because they had about 10 times as many partners. But what we have done is that the airport is mostly through with their updated airport layout plan and master plan. One of the pieces of low-hanging fruit that's out there that is high return on investment is fire suppression. So they have a limited water capacity out there in terms of the pressures are low. So if there's an airport project that we were going to look at this year that would have a lot of bang for its buck is the inclusion of storage tanks out there that would be basically there for fire suppression. They wouldn't need to be tied to the system even. You just put the tanks out there and air gap them and fill them with water. And their only purpose is to serve as a fire suppression system. And so that's not it in terms of what we're looking at, but that was it for this morning. So obviously we take everything that we have going on into consideration, and budget's going to kind of dictate where we go. But if y'all have ideas and thoughts for things that you want to see, I know we're going to be doing council retreat sometime this spring to kind of delve more into that, but we'll add things to the list if we need to. With that, Mr. Mayor, that's all I've got.
Good. Any comments or questions for Mr. Hornins?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Michael, you had on there a while ago, Hill Country Drive was one of the projects, quite a ways back, a little bit further, right
Yeah.
there. Is that right there in between Chinatown and Wells Fargo building, which are what we're talking about there, where
It floods.
it floods? Noticed it again Friday night when we had that rain, driving by, it was, I mean, streets had already blocked it off with the road closed.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of infrastructure work that was done there
Yeah, they
a
raised
while
it.
back where they raised it, but it was still flooded out again. Actually, the whole parking lot of Chinatown was under.
Was all flooded out, yeah. David, you might need to help me out with that one. I think part of it is we're doing those transportation projects with TxDOT. Are they all fully complete, or are we still working on them? Because I know they're doing sidewalk projects from Hill Country Drive back down to the park to help with that mobility, but I don't know if that gets into that drainage issue.
Okay. I was just asking, because I know that it was done probably a year
Yes,
ago or
I
so,
remember that
maybe
now.
more than a year.
Yeah.
But just to drive by it on Friday, now it was pouring down rain, and I mean, there's nothing, thank goodness we got what we got. But to see the work that was done to alleviate that problem and to see it still there, I was just curious.
Right, yeah, so we did that drainage project, it's been a couple of years to help alleviate, get that water to move into the drainage area. But I think the existing, or that Hill Country Drive is the sidewalk project.
I just wondered, I saw it and I wanted to ask since I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Friday.
that work that was done, I think that was part of our, it was in our drainage plan. And so we took care of that one.
Comments or questions?
I would say, been a heck of a great year. City staff got a lot of work done and, appreciate all the dedication taken and put up with the flood issues as well. So that's, quite the accomplishment. So thanks to all the staff.
They did a lot of work, all of them, yeah.
It was a tough year. I'm glad it's behind us. And I guess the last thing I'll say, and then I'll hush, is the thank you to everybody starting Friday with all the updates. I can't just say only the city, but the sheriff's office, Chief McCall with Kerrville Police Department, everything that was being pushed out to the public for public awareness. I asked Chief a while ago, what was your call volume like? And he goes, pretty much everybody heeded the warning, listened to what we had happen in 2021 or, with Storm Uri, and the sheriff's office said they had very low call volume. So, thank you to everybody, staff-wise, and the citizens for, staying off the streets and being mindful of it. And, so, thank you all.
I just have one question, because I'm on the clock.
Yes, ma'am.
When are we doing the ribbon cutting for the KPD complex?
It's in the process of planning. Hopefully, we're looking for one of the last 2 weeks of February.
Okay.
We'll call that a dedication ceremony of some kind. What's the plan?
Yeah, I think we'll call it kind of a grand opening ceremony.
Got it.
And we'll also do public tours after the ceremony.
Still have a few too many contractors milling about doing stuff that we want them out of there before y'all come in.
On a punch list.
Still working on a punch list. Stupid doors.
Oh, thank you.
Who knew? Doors.
I did not. Now I know. Mechanical doors
How
from now on.
valuable you're getting, Michael.
I noticed Todd Bach is in the audience. Do you have anything to share with us on economic development, or I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just asking if you have anything to say, we'd be happy to hear.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, we'll give you a quick update. We do have several business retention and expansion projects, non-flood related. Everything that is existing businesses looking to expand, grow, hire new workforce. And I would say we probably have about 6 or 7 of those in the pipeline. Really excited. A lot of those are existing business owners expanding, plus longtime citizens that have lived here looking to open new businesses and expand out into some light manufacturing. So we've been not only flood, but this is all just economic development 101 for the city of Kerrville and Kerr County. So it's been really busy on that front too. Really good to see that, under these current circumstances and the times and the economy, to still have a lot of entrepreneurs looking to expand their business and open new business. So yeah, it's been busy. Kelly and I have been just about everywhere on a lot of meetings here lately with those. It feels really good, right, to go and to do your economic development meetings. We really look forward to them. So,
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, I don't want to put you on, Ms. Hagemeyer, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you have anything to add, you're welcome to do it.
While she gets up, can I tout Kelly for just a second?
Please.
Go ahead and get up there. The facade improvement grant has been something that's been in the works for a while. We did have one previously that had almost zero, I think it had zero utilization. And this last round, Kelly, well, it was fun to watch because as parents with young children, sometimes you don't sleep, and we still got work to do. And sometimes those are the days when you have all of your grant submissions coming in, and everybody's going to come look at them. And so it was a sea of paper, and I came in and I was like, "You good?" She said, "I'm good." And I walked away because I knew she was fine. And I say all that to say that there was 40, how many applications?
42 applications.
42 applications, and so I'll turn it over because that's a pretty big achievement for that project. And so I think that's going to be a successful endeavor moving forward.
No, thank you to council for allowing TERS to set aside some money for that. I know that is a project that has, that we've endeavored in before. And so I'm glad that we were able to bring that back up. We had 42 applications. 24 of those were actually, some businesses put in more than one application, so it ended up being 24. We'll call them projects in the end. It ended up being $1.2 million in total projects that people are wanting to do within the TERS, and it was $170,000 in grant request money. We had $50,000. So we had a wonderful conversation about the way that TERS can best use its money. Julie and her team did a great job of informing TERS of kind of their purpose, how initially their funding is supposed to be divvied up, 10% here, 25% there. So that kind of gave us some ideas of some of these projects that came in. Maybe we can try to carve out money from somewhere else so that we can better utilize all of our funding. So I'll be coming back. I'm supposed to be sending out a letter to those who we are awarding the grant to. I'll be sending that out this week. And then we will be following up with TERS in March to talk about moving forward and some other potential grant opportunities. So we're really excited about that. And Michael and I, we kind of decided to recap what the year had looked like. A lot of infrastructure projects, and I think that's, as y'all know, development depends on what the infrastructure is. So we wanted to put an emphasis definitely on the things that we have done before and some of the projects that will need some funding to be able to continue to develop, whether it's businesses or having housing, because we're having more and more conversations about housing. Todd and I just had a conversation today with a developer, kind of asking them where they were with phase 2 of a project, and it seems like some of these things are going to start moving forward. So we look forward to updating y'all as more housing projects come up too.
I have one quick question. So I'm not blindsided when I am meeting downtown merchants and businesses, which, when it's publishable, could I know who those that have been approved? I don't want to know in advance. I don't want to, and I would certainly not let you be the one to deliver that message. But I do get asked when I'm walking about, "Hey, I haven't heard anything," or "Hey, I heard and I'm disappointed," or "Hey, I'm ecstatic."
Yeah, so I'll be sending out those letters hopefully no later than Friday, with losing
So that's the
yesterday.
timeframe. That's,
Yes,
okay.
my goal was to have
So I'll
those,
go next
because we
week.
met on Thursday, I believe, either Tuesday, I can't remember, someday last week, and so now I'm gonna go. We had Aaron Barnes in that meeting too, so that he could also let us know what would need a permit or what was acceptable, so that there weren't any surprises once we put it out those. But I'll send a list to council and to TERS so that they are aware of who has been awarded. And then it's all reimbursable, so they will have to contact the finance department and do proof of work and all the other checklist of things that they'll need to do.
Great. I'm excited.
So you say those names are going to be published at some point?
We hadn't really talked about publishing the names. We kind of talked about what that does to actually publish those names, and, will it start some sort of turf war?
Yeah, maybe that's.
And so, but we would like to figure out how to discuss and how to celebrate, what TERS is doing. So I think that that's a discussion, because I know Crystal, with public information, she had asked the same thing. So that was something Michael and I hadn't quite talked about yet, is the most proper way.
So it's public dollars, and there's winners and there's losers for these things, and so, it is what it is. We'll publish those as soon as practical for it, because it's they're grant awards. They're gonna go to these folks. So yeah, we will.
Yeah, it's grant money. It's grant money from public funds. It has to be published.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we'll get that out there. It's a good list. I mean,
There's not a question. It has to be published.
it's a good thing that we had more applicants than we had available funds for. I mean, that's a successful program, and it,
Think we'll do it again, maybe? I guess we'll see how this whole process
Yes,
finishes.
I hope so.
TERS had said that they would like to try to set aside $50,000 every year for some sort of exterior enhancement grant.
Questions or comments?
Well, my only comment is that I would like to see if there's a way that some of the TERS money could be set aside to benefit the entire zone and not just people who are selected from applications that come in. We had talked about, I don't know whether it's kiosks at designated corners that have brochures, that outline the district and all the restaurants and businesses that are in that district. But that's what I see as benefiting the entire zone, rather than to have application processes from people who are, everybody's in the zone's paying into it. So they all ought to be able to reap the benefit. So that's the only thing I struggle with this application process and the selection of.
Some of the ideas that have come out of this new designation that we have might be a partnership. We end up brainstorming the idea and being supported maybe a little bit by TERS, so the whole district would get benefits, because the arts would be more of a wide sweep to benefit the whole TERS. Anything we did that would be an art project, like the kiosks, if they were to be artful. So that some of those ideas are percolating on a whole different committee.
Yeah.
And we did go to the TERS meeting. TCA, our district did join their meeting last week, the 21st, I think.
Yeah.
To do just that, to say, hey, let's make sure we're on the same page. We're not duplicating efforts. And it turns out we kind of are. They have some ideas that we also had, whether it's, improving the garage or signage for the garage or signage in general or benches.
Yeah, I just want to be sure and advocate for those funds
TERS.
being used to benefit the zone as a whole.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Of course.
Brenda, I like your idea of like the kiosk. That's, we were downtown San Antonio with my nieces, and it tells you everything that's around, all the restaurants, and then you can actually take selfies with the kiosk while you're there, and it like puts the background of downtown. in the back of the picture. So it's another way to highlight and advertise Kerrville, but so, just a thought, but that's pretty cool. Probably not cheap.
Any more questions or comments from Ms. Hagemeyer? Or Mr. Hornes? I think that ends up our agenda for this evening on the workshop. Any reason to prolong this meeting?
I can talk, you know me. I mean,
That sounds negative.
All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn this workshop at 4:40. Reception coming